On an all-new episode of FR Racing's Garage Talk, we look at a wild ride around Talladega on Wednesday Night Dash, and then a bit of a crazy night at Michigan in the IndyCar series.
And Harrison Burton, yes, he did win at Daytona. We're going to talk more about that and the playoff implications. IndyCar had a bland race that apparently nobody watched, and Max Verstappen sandbagged.
All that and more.
Welcome to FR Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Flook.
I'm Erik Richardson.
And we still have a lot to talk about from our Sunday show, or Monday show rather, from the weekend recap, but we'll get into that later. So we're going to jump right in and shout out to Montucky Cold Snacks.
And I got the friend JD.
Yeah, so we had Wednesday Night Dash this week, and we ran some different rules. Because
I think overall that worked well.
I think so too. I mean, it sucks the race ended under caution, and Dega gonna Dega.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're gonna have somebody turn somebody. I got turned, but I lucked out that I was able to limp it back to the pits, get my repair, put a little fuel in there, get some tires, and I was back on the track and ahead of the pace car, and ended up back in the top 10 after being wrecked out. Like 30 seconds earlier, 2 minutes earlier rather. And but we revised the rules for the super speedway race based on what happened during Daytona last season in the trucks. And we've talked about this previously. It was a mess. Like we had a 15 car crash out of like the 18 or 19 cars involved. Some had to take tows, some limped around, some were okay to continue. But when you lose like 80% of your field in one crash 3 laps into the race, we got a problem.
Yeah.
And we needed to make an adjustment to make the racing better and make people think twice about making that aggressive move, especially early on. So we changed the rules. For the first time ever, we ran a Wednesday Night Dash race with a caution, automatic cautions. We had 3 cautions.
I believe so.
I mean, 4 technically if you count the
4
finish.
at the end.
Yeah, three in-race cautions. The race finished under caution was the 4th. So we had 4 cautions in 40 laps. I mean, we made it 15 laps before the initial caution, and it wasn't terrible. It was, I don't know. I think it went well. It wasn't going to be perfect. I never expected it to be perfect, but I think overall this structure worked for this case.
Yeah, I do like it. I just saw a message pop through. One of our drivers making fun of Talladega Nights, which we'll get to.
Wait, are they making fun of Talladega Nights, or are they making fun of us?
Me.
Oh, they're making fun of you.
I'm flying. This is not good.
I mean, it's only. I mean, we'll get right to that, but by the time this airs, I'm sure that photo will have circulated.
Oh, yeah.
But we decided for Talladega we're going to do something different, and we did the Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights. You were Ricky Bobby, and I played Cal Naughton Jr. So I had my Old Spice car. I got back into a Camaro. For this. I have to pray and do 10 Hail Marys to my genuine Ford parts sign for driving a Camaro tonight, which I will do after we're done recording this. But I got into a Camaro. We got paired up. We had a really good 15 laps, kind of just cruising.
Yeah, 3 of us were lined up really well. And kind of going back, the change up with the cautions really made it fun. So it was able to get the cars back out there, have an incident, get back on track. It was fun there at the beginning.
So I was the second caution. I got turned. I just got bumped into. I got squirrely, and then I got turned, and it was
No,
just
these Xfinity cars, they were squirrely in the turns.
I
They
was a little
danced.
I was a little surprised about that. I figured, with what we've seen in the past, that I feel like the next gen was a little more stable.
Yeah, next gen was pretty stable. Trucks have that little bit longer wheelbase, so those were nice to drive. But yeah, these got squirrely.
And I survived. I get my fast repair. I'm back in the top 10 right away. Um, Big shakeup in points. I mean, except for Dawson, who 3 for 3 somehow. I mean, I don't know.
Well, and part of
Usually,
that's just kind of luck when the
yeah.
caution flag comes
Yeah,
out.
I mean, he just happened to be in the right place at the right time when the caution came out. And then the final caution, which ended the race, involved you getting turned.
Yeah, I washed up the track a little bit, so it's hard on me. I had a car to the outside just enough, and I got turned, and then yeah, chaos just ensued, and I
You
had
went,
my Ricky Bobby moment.
you had your Ricky Bobby moment.
So I guess
What?
it's fitting as in Wonder Bread car.
Yeah, yep, upside down, sliding down the track. That was about
Landed
as
on
Ricky.
another car. I did about everything I could, and that car died. It
I
did not move afterwards.
I had a car come down. I forget who it was now. Come down. I popped it, and I had some damage in the front, but I kept going, and I was able to maintain my speed under caution. But I don't. I'm glad it was the end of the race because I'm pretty confident I would not have been able to maintain speed if we would have had to go green again.
I
So,
was hoping I could still like limp it in first gear somehow to stay on the lead lap, but yeah, I did tow. If
but
you want to see the
it's
pictures, I'm sure it'll be on our social or check out
we'll have it.
Wildcat Racing on Instagram,
We're
and
gonna have a crash of the week coming up here on Sunday that
that'll be coming up.
I get turned. I think we'll use yours. I actually recorded the video from a TV perspective, but then I also did on the second round, the in-car perspective when you go upside down and slide down the track. All that was missing was me getting out of my car and running after you.
Ricky,
Ricky,
I'm on fire.
Ricky, you're not on fire.
If we were in the chat with everybody, I'd probably been like, I'm on fire.
But yeah, it was overall. I'm satisfied. Will we make some adjustments to the rules for next season? We'll get some feedback and see.
Yeah, it'd be
If
fun to talk to others and see what they thought.
if we leave it the same next season, going into the winter, I would be fine with that.
I'd at least give it one more shot. One is
Yeah,
hard to base. Two, you can generally get a good idea. The third time is usually like, okay, this works or doesn't work.
I think the one, I think one worked out okay. One fast repair.
Yeah, I thought I had to use it, and luckily I didn't.
I mean, I obviously I got meatballed in the crash, the big crash I was in. So, um, yeah, funny story actually. I got a text after the race from my mom who was watching, and she said she was yelling at her phone when I got turned.
I like
so,
it.
some things never change. As it if 10-year-old me getting knocked to the ground on the soccer field, my mom's screaming at the ref. Me at almost 40 years old gets turned in a video game that she's watching. She's screaming at the phone.
Hey, no, instead of us getting told turn those off, now it's like, what is happening?
Oh, I laughed when I saw that message come through. She's like, "Hey, you finished seventh." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm satisfied with that. I'll take it."
Yeah, overall it's a good race. We've had some bad luck this season, but yeah,
Yeah,
it happens.
there was a little bit of drama, but I'm sure cooler heads will prevail. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's Talladega.
it's Talladega. I mean, it's the places that irritate people the drivers the most are Talladega and Bristol.
But luckily we got a break here for a couple weeks. It is week 13 and paired
Labor
up with Labor Day
Day.
too, so all lines up.
And it times out great because we always give an off week to give you the extra practice for road course week, because that will be interesting. That will be very interesting.
I might be busy on Wednesday.
I love
We're
Coda. I love Coda. I hate driving it. I love it. Love the track.
it's just road courses. I like to turn left. But
I
yeah,
mean,
head to
I tell
Dakota.
people, we were born in Indiana. We are genetically incapable of turning a race car to the right.
Even if we're not watching Indy cars, we're watching dirt cars. They turn left.
They turn left. Actually, no, they turn right to go left.
Yeah, counterintuitive, but they still go left.
Yes, it's turning
They don't
left.
make a true right.
On the topic of dirt cars, I think I'm going to take the family down to Central Arizona Speedway. They have a dirt racing down there. It's a 3.8 mile dirt track. It's about 40 minutes from my house. So I'm going to go check that out here in a couple of weeks, I think. I'm sure my wife will be extremely irritated, but hey.
The season finale actually goes on Friday this year, but next year there's a 3/8 asphalt track up here that I'm gonna have to go check out. It's about 20 minutes away.
I mean, that's fun. I never really did that. I mean, we had Kokomo Speedway in our backyard, and I never
I've yet
went.
to go.
I had never went. I lived in Indiana for the first 18 plus years of my life and never went to Kokomo Speedway once.
I've been
All
to
I had
Logansport more.
on a Friday or Saturday night, you walk outside, you could hear the cars. You could hear the PA. Like, we were
And
close
you
enough.
do want a caution hit.
Yeah, you could hear it like from where we lived. And we were still a few miles away, and you could still hear, hear the track off in the distance. It
Yeah,
was
it's not
pretty.
it's huge sound, but it was up on the north end and
I mean, it's still a good
halfway through.
4 or 5 miles away, and you still could hear it on some nights, depending
Oh yeah.
on it. But yeah, we're gonna go check out the dirt track. And the other thing my wife doesn't know yet is I got my tickets for the spring Phoenix race, which has not been officially scheduled yet.
I did see
And
a leak, but we'll see how true that ends up.
what's that?
The leaked schedule, I think like March 9th. I got a bug flying around my face.
Okay. So the March, yeah, the Mexico race was confirmed this week, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
I think that takes the spot of one of the Richmond races.
Yeah, yeah, but I mean, when you're in March, there's not like they've said the Phoenix. We'll be returning to Phoenix in the spring, but we don't have a date yet for the race. And I mean, I don't see them pulling away from Phoenix because there's only so many places you can go to in March still.
Yep.
Without the risk of getting. I mean, look at Auto Club a couple years ago.
It snows.
It snowed at Auto Club. And messed with that. So it's like you got to stay south. You got to go to Phoenix. You got to go to Texas and Coda and Las Vegas and Auto Club. We could do, you still could go to Auto Club, but no. But I bought tickets to the Cup race in the spring. My wife does not know yet. Will she
What's
be
up with that
angry?
one?
Will she be angry with me when I tell her that we're going to the Cup race instead of the Xfinity race? Yes. Do I care?
Just
Not
enough,
really.
but this will be the first time she watches an episode.
I mean, well, the thing is, she's been to a Cup race. She went to a Cup race with us.
Yep. We went to the
And
November race and
do you remember what she said when we left?
that was fun, wasn't it?
She said that was fun. I enjoyed that. and the crazy thing is we never went to a race again until the kids were about 4, and some of that was babies and then COVID and all that got all screwed up. So the next time we went to a race after that race in 2016 that the three of us went to was when I took my kids to an Xfinity race in 2022. And but now next spring they're going to see their first Cup race, and I have to when we get closer to time, I'm gonna have to reach out to Chris Myers and say, hey, I'm finally gonna be in the building at the same time as you. So finally coordinate that meetup that we've been trying to do for the last
That'd be
couple of
cool if that
years.
worked out.
Yep. So see if I can manipulate my way across the line and let him give me a microphone. I
I
mean,
just need to find a way to get back out there.
it's just Fox, let me be on the pre-race show. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, special guest.
some random guy that most people never heard of. But yeah, it's worst best case scenario. I'll be standing in the background going like this, like the time I was on the Phoenix Suns pregame show, dancing in the background. Uh,
Or be like the one where we just stood there.
or the NASCAR pre-race show in 2016 that we were on, which is still pretty wild that we were on that.
Yeah, that was funny. It was great. We made it on TV.
It was it was Kyle Petty, Dale Jarrett, and Chris Devoda, and then the two of us standing right behind.
There's still like good 20 feet, but it wasn't like right behind them.
Yeah, I took a photo of. I still have a photo of that. I just took a picture of the TV. I paused it and took a picture of that. That was cool.
Yeah, that was fun.
But the pit passes though on Sunday is better because you get to walk on the track, and before you leave, you get to sign the start finish line. So they give you a
That's really
Sharpie.
cool.
Yeah, so they give you a Sharpie to sign the start finish line, and then you be down there for driver intros. So I'm looking forward to it. It's the kids being their age and attention span, especially if they're younger, and taking them to a cup race at 4 years and 5 years old is not.
And I'm half tempted to try mine as a 3-year-old at the Milwaukee IndyCar next year. It's pretty short.
I mean, the advantage for you though, I mean, you get that, but the advantage too is most Xfinity events are free for kids.
Yeah,
And
that's what makes that really nice.
yeah, it's like, okay, so your kid has a total meltdown and doesn't like the noise, and you have to leave 20 laps in, like whatever. I spent $20 for this adult ticket, and my kid's ticket was free.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Phoenix Raceway doesn't charge for parking.
I like when places don't charge for parking. You're already paying for the ticket.
They don't charge for parking, and they paved a big, asphalt road right in the center of the parking area. Remember how far you had to walk from the dirt
Oh,
out?
yeah.
Yeah. So now they have a big paved road that splits the middle of it. And what they do is they have this giant pickup truck with these like little tram cars hooked to it. And they have like 5 bus stop space, like tram stops. And you
Oh,
just
that's
go up,
much
yeah,
better.
you just go up to your tram stop and you just sit right down in the tram. It's free. They take you right there. They drop you off 100 feet from the gate, and you walk the rest of the way. So not having to carry your kids out at the end of the day, and taking that tram is not bad,
That's
not
nice.
bad at all.
I know some places would have a hard time doing it. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is one, Wrigley Field would be one. But the places that have parking lots, if they would just add $5 per ticket for parking fees, essentially, I would have no problem with that.
There was a our local soccer team in Phoenix. I haven't been to a game in years, but on their old stadium, parking was notoriously bad. People would wait forever to get in because they'd just be sitting there collecting cash. And so finally what they did was they just put like a $2 surcharge on all the tickets and just said, "Come on in. There's nobody, you just pull right in, you pull right out." And all of a sudden everybody got in, got to their seats on time.
Yeah,
Getting
it's
out on the
gonna
other hand was
balance out.
little
You have
hard,
a
but
car, 2 people come in, you're only getting $10, but you're gonna have a car that has 6 people in it.
yeah.
So you're gonna average out the $20, and that's what you're charging anyway.
Yeah, you bring a family of 5, family of 6 in there, and yeah. And now all of a sudden people are going to be, when I went to a game with my wife, she's like, "This sucks. Like I hate it. Like it took us 40 minutes to get in there because somebody had to wait and collect their $5 from us.
Hmm.
It almost didn't go back because of that."
Just add it to the ticket price and be done.
Yeah, or
If
just
you buy
or
it
or if you really
secondhand,
want to, if you want to make people feel special, free parking, but sneak it into the price of the ticket.
yep,
Like don't even
I'm
surcharge
totally
it.
okay with that.
Like when you're paying
Just
for a
build it into
ticket,
your
like
ticket
whatever.
price. It's there.
Yeah.
And if you buy it on the third party like StubHub or anything like that, cost of business.
And if you want to pay for the closer premium parking, okay, charge for the
Yeah,
premium
do that.
parking. That's what Phoenix Raceway does. Like they had a slightly closer parking lot. We paid like $20, and we were right there on top of the entrance.
Yeah, there you go.
20 bucks for parking nowadays is not terrible.
Michigan Speedway. Do you hear this?
Michigan
Fix your parking.
Speedway seems like they need to do a whole like reevaluation of the roads in and out of that place.
I would have that traffic moving so much more efficiently. It is possible.
I I don't, when I come off sounding like some kind of pompous, arrogant person here, but like I look and I go through life, and maybe this is just like how my brain works. I'll see these processes of like parking or how people work through a store or the how you get into this event or whatever. It's just like that's such a crappy way of doing that. Like it's like, look, if you route people in through this way and then you zigzag them here, it's like you're gonna get in and out much quicker. It's like,
When you have cars leaving and you cross traffic lines, you are going to stack it up for hours.
and that's where Phoenix gets it right. It's like you're driving on the wrong side of the road on the way out.
That's what Indianapolis does.
But yeah, like
16th Street,
they
major
just
road, it's
move the
all lanes.
cones.
And there's one lane for emergency vehicles to get through.
Come on, guys. We
Do
are,
better.
yeah, we're available. Michigan International Speedway.
I'm available for hire. I will
This
contract out.
is this International Speedway Corporation or whatever they called now. They own that place.
I'm not
They
sure.
they must, because the rule is IndyCar. Roger Penske used to own Michigan. He does not anymore, but
With
I'm
these
guessing
cars now, it might be too fast.
probably.
Too fast, too much banking. Although, use that argument at Indianapolis, it's too fast. It's the banking that causes problems.
Yeah,
Indy's fairly flat.
it's yeah. Yeah, NASCAR owns it. International Speedway Corporation. I kind of figured. Anyway,
Do we look
so
at
oh yeah,
Indy Racing World
yeah, we
Series?
gotta talk about that real quick before we get too late here.
Yeah, you weren't there, but
No, I wasn't.
that that was a race.
I
That was
would have
wild.
I would have caused a huge wreck early on had I raced last night, because I worked like the first 2 days of the week. I'd been working on a major project, and I put in on Monday like a 14-hour day, and then I couldn't get to. I tried to go to sleep early because I was exhausted, but I was like, it was one of those you're so tired but you can't sleep things. So I didn't sleep very much. And then Tuesday I worked another like 13 hours, and I got done like right before, and I was just like, I could rush over and turn my computer on right now, but I am in the wrong mindset at the moment. This would be bad.
So it was
Over to
a
you.
200, yeah, it was a 250 miler. We did give everybody 2 fast repairs on it. Just keep people on track. And if you go back and look at it, the racing and stuff itself was very, very good. But our incident counts were insanely high.
I did see that. I looked at I was cycling through the iRacing app waiting for the results to pop up, and then they finally popped up. It's like, oh wow.
Yeah, it was wild. But with that track in these cars, so much of it, you are going to basically run it like a Talladega or Daytona. If you want to compete, you're in the pack. And the cars get such runs that it's creates a lot of movement. And as we know, there's so much aero push that you get dirty air, you're sliding up, and that low line through the tri-oval at Michigan in an IndyCar is super sketchy. But I even had one crazy night. I got bumped and went through the grass and went back and looked at it. I missed the pit wall by maybe a foot and a half of just plowing into it. So I come back out and I'm behind. But then me and Ian, we were just passing every turn in an effort to try to catch back up. Use the draft to save fuel. I think I was passing going into 3 and 4. He was passing on 1 and 2. So great teamwork there. Then pit stops happen and everything starts bunching up. Then I actually got to the lead and I had to go in and pit, but I sped onto pit road.
Oh,
So I have a 45-second penalty. But luckily with cycle and maybe some fuel savings that were going on. It happened to cycle to where I was a lap down and a caution came out.
Oh, wow.
So I got the lucky dog, was able to get in, get fresh tires, get fuel for the end, and somehow ended up coming from 2 laps down, off track once, and finished second. But even that was a replay of Pocono. Did a deep dive to the inside and cleared and entered turn 3 about a half lane too low. And I was right behind a car. So washed up a little bit and unfortunately ended up collecting 2 cars. I didn't even realize we were 3 wide
Oops.
in the lower, like 2/3 of the track. So unfortunately, they got sent up to the wall. I was able to keep it moving and get still a second, I think. And Lucas Puntarelli won again on a last lap wreck race.
Unreal.
Yeah,
Did it
when you
again.
watch the replay, your 30-minute highlight video is gonna be packed.
Yeah, it may be a little longer than 30 minutes. I gotta find time to edit that.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, and then on top of that, the race was not broadcasted because Taco lost power. So
there are
awesome.
huge storms going through the Michigan area. So unfortunately, it wasn't able to be broadcast, but I think we have it up now. Check it out. It was a wild race.
Yeah, by the time this episode airs, I should have it. We'll edit that tomorrow. Yeah, that's
Off again,
that's a
and we
bummer.
have
I don't
Phoenix
want to
in
miss
2
that.
weeks.
Yeah,
Coming to your neck of the woods.
my home track, my new home track.
That should be another wild one.
It's funny, I always called Indianapolis Motor Speedway my home track, but Kokomo Speedway was. But if you've never been to the track, can you really call it your home track?
Indy will always be my home track, even if I'm
Agreed.
on the other side of the world.
Yeah, I don't. It's like I don't
It's Indy.
care. I don't care that I live 60 miles away in Podunkville, and it's still my home track. I spent so much time there as a kid, and so much of everything I've done in my life and everything my life has been revolves around that track and all
I've
the
spent
stories from
hours there this year.
I mean, there's a reason why you got the pennant hanging up behind me. I've got ticket stubs up on my wall here. It is what it is.
And there's a reason IndyCar is what we're wearing right now, too.
Yeah. Got my vintage 1998 Indy 500, which I went to this one. This was actually on my birthday. So I went to that race and yeah. So real racing.
What a weekend.
Yeah. Harrison Burton, man. It was such a feel-good story, and seeing the clips and seeing his dad almost punch Lee Diffie in the head, celebrating for his son, but trying to be a professional on the air. But the director would not let that happen.
Yeah, there's such a toss-up. Like, that win does so much for the Wood brothers.
Yeah.
Brings money into the system and the team and is going to help make them more competitive, which is going to make the series that much
And they
better.
got a good driver coming in next year, too.
And similar to what happened with Spire a couple of years ago, it just accelerates everything. But then you have the other side of it. You have a driver in 34th place that's basically being fired for being not good.
Not good enough.
And
yeah.
Now they're a playoff driver.
And guaranteed to finish in the top 16.
Yeah, guaranteed 16th place.
Part of me hopes that he makes him run for it.
It'd be awesome to see if he gets through the first cut. And, those races just weren't the best for him.
Well, here's the other thing, too, is you've got Atlanta in the first round. Anybody could win there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Talladega in, the final 8, I think? I mean, it's just, you have a lucky break at Atlanta and Talladega. You could find yourself very easily sliding into that last 4. Just because of the nature of those places. Or you could be Ross Chastain and go all the way to Martinsville and just run along the wall on the final lap.
You go Atlanta, Watkins Glen, Bristol, Kansas. I think that's what the usual cutoff.
Mm-hmm.
Talladega, Roval, Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, then Phoenix. Those really are all tracks that crazy things happen.
They do.
And
Yeah.
Kansas has been a pretty big equalizer
It's
of all
been a lot of
tracks.
fun too. The racing at Kansas has been pretty good.
So
Both
it'd be fun to see him make a run, but it still comes back to the whole NASCAR thing of, well, win and you're in. But when you get this situation,
Do you think they'll change it?
I don't think they will, but I almost think they have to.
I still think the way to do this to incentivize winning, but not give too much of it, is give some extra points for winning.
Yeah, put in extra like 5 points or 10 points. Bring back
Incentivize the
the
winning,
elite
but
lap.
don't give you the free the free parking
It
monopoly.
would be nice to see them get rid of these stages again. Go back to elite lap, you get bonus points. If you have the most laps led, you get bonus points. Then it creates different levels of strategy. You have drivers that are maybe on that fringe. You're right now, Bubba Wallace, Ross Chastain. They're going to drive a different strategy halfway through the regular season, and they're going to start picking up lead lap points, and that might be enough to make a big difference. I think something's got to change.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not one for changing for the sake of changing. Granted, we just changed our super speedway rules on a whim, not on a whim.
It is an educated change.
Yeah. I mean,
But I
it's
think it's not you're just changing it on a whim here. It's you're looking at it and going,
we can do that.
are we really getting the best drivers in? Is this whole let's do what 26 races, and if you win one time, you're guaranteed, unless you have 17 race winners.
Yeah.
To me, that's just not smart.
Very gimmicky.
It is. And look at the super speedway racing. They're running half throttle just to save fuel because of strategies.
Because of stage strategy.
So if you want to do this, just cut it down to stage 3. Let's do 100 laps on a mile and a half and call it a day. Save time, save money, save everything.
We need to do pitch NASCAR Wednesday night dash strategy, but just 500 miles instead of 45-minute racing.
They got to figure something out.
I think we're on to something.
They are losing fans because of this.
Yeah, it's NASCAR's never going to make it back to the level it was in the 90s. The ratings
No, it's not going to get there.
No,
There's
the
just
ratings
too
are
many
good.
other things to watch. I mean, this Daytona race just hit a new high since what, 2021? You showed me.
Yeah. I mean, they're having good
4 million viewers.
Like, and the thing too is with how TV has evolved in the last 30 years. One, we went from in the 1970s and 1980s to only having a handful of channels to getting to the 2000s with having a million channels, and now that's scaling back, and people are cutting cable out of their lives. So it's like you hear these stories about, like, what was it, like 80 million people watched the series finale of MASH, whatever that number was. That's never going to happen again. Never.
No,
like, that's never going to
options.
happen again. The only sporting event ever, I mean, maybe they'll change someday, but the only sporting event right now is the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Because it's more than just a game. It's a way of life. It's a party. It's a celebration. You get people tuning into this game who, many of them don't watch a single NFL game their entire season. But hey, so-and-so's throwing a cookout. Grab some beers, make some hot dogs on the grill. And
yeah, it's really a worldwide event that people want to watch. Then
I mean, the World Cup has like a global audience because it's a global event. But yeah, I mean, it's just.
But yeah, you're right. People get together and like, I don't care about football, but I'll go hang out with 10 other buddies and drink some beer and call in sick to work on Monday morning. and be called
People,
names
yeah, people are
during the
saying,
final song.
yeah. So, I mean, if you look at the top 10 most watched television programs of all time, the top 10 are Super Bowls.
Yep.
Then MASH at 105.97 million in 1983. Then a bunch of Super Bowls.
You know, it'd be really funny if we get a comment on this episode that knows exactly the reference I was just making, especially if the people work in accounting.
Here's listen to this. So here are the top 5 non-Super Bowl most watched broadcasts. Number 5 was the episode of Dallas Who Done It, who shot JR
You
with
shot JR.
Who shot JR 83.6 million. Number 4 was the 2016 presidential debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump with 84 million people watching over multiple networks. That's kind of wild. I wouldn't have guessed that.
I wouldn't have guessed, but I can see it.
Number 3 was the coverage of the Gulf War in January 16th, 1991. Again, multiple channels. The MASH season finale, 106 million in 1983. Any guesses what the number 1 non-Super Bowl watched event of all time? And I'll give you a hint. It was a major event in the 90s, and it was on multiple channels. The OJ verdict, yeah. 151 million. That's an
Didn't
estimate.
they even have that playing when we were in middle
We
school?
watched it in school. Yes.
They had it on the TV in the cafeteria or the library. It's the library because we could walk over and watch it.
They rolled a TV into our classroom to watch the verdict. And looking back on that, that is so wild.
Yeah, like
you interrupted a middle school day to watch the O.J. Simpson verdict on October 3rd, 1995.
Yeah, just wild.
Unreal. Anyway, but like you're never like you see these shows and like, oh, they had 2.1 million viewers, 1.8 million, 3.2. And you're
not bad numbers.
Not anymore. When you're comparing it to 105 million people watching MASH, like, yeah, that's bad. But again,
let's get back down to 10 channels and be the only thing on. Yeah, you're gonna get it.
Yeah, well, and people cutting the cords and cutting the cord, and you have streaming competition, and some people have antennas. Like, honestly, if I'd ever get rid of Hulu, I have an antenna. Like, why not?
Yeah. So NASCAR had great viewers, but I think they can draw more if they just change the format. There's so many races we watch. Stage 1, just run in circles, a few passes. Stage 2, run in circles, a few passes. Stage 3, oh, it's racing time. Do you think NASCAR ends up taking the route where they just shorten up the races because people don't have attention spans anymore?
I think they might have to.
Because baseball's trying to shorten up, other sports are trying to shorten it up.
And especially it's hard too. Like when you're younger, you're single. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to waste 4 hours watching a race. But like, I got kids, I got crap to do. I don't have 4 hours to sit there and watch. And my wife would walk out on me if I would sit there and watch for 4 hours every weekend, especially when I'm watching, in and out of the room for Formula One, for IndyCar, for NASCAR. You got the triple weekends. Then I've got the degenerate race fan in me watching Xfinity, the truck series. You got IMSA stuff mixed in. Now, Heather's got us watching MX5 Cup.
So that's why we just need to. Then we can do it because it's our job. I want to know. That's the easiest way. It'd be fun to know, what do we need to do to get Garage Talk up there with Dale's and Happy Hour and Hamlin's?
You gotta be more controversial. Oh man. And I haven't seen any Indy Portland TV ratings, so I'm guessing those are probably dismal.
There was nobody at the race.
Did I hear that the finale is going to be on Peacock only?
I don't know. If that is the case, IndyCar, please hire us to do better.
Well, I mean, it's also NBC's last race with IndyCar before they go over to Fox next year. Uh,
Oh, let's see. What do they have?
I
NBC
don't.
and Peacock. The
I
Saturday race at Milwaukee is Peacock.
Yeah.
Then Sundays is USA and Peacock. Then Nashville is NBC and Peacock.
Okay.
There's
So
no way they're doing Peacock only.
yeah, that's you can't do the finale on Peacock only. Are you kidding me?
It'd be the big slap in the face, but
I mean,
no, the Saturday race of Milwaukee will be.
it irks me that like Peacock keeps like only like 2 years ago, Peacock was like $5 a month. Now it's up to like $8 a month. They're losing the IndyCar series. They don't really put NASCAR on Peacock very much. And it's like, do I want to
Fox
keep
is going to play practice sessions and all that. So
yeah, and it's like, do I want to keep Peacock to watch like IMSA? Do I care about IMSA that much to pay $8 a month? I don't think I do.
I don't. I
I
like
mean,
it, but
yeah, I
it's
mean,
not worth it.
maybe I'll buy it in January and watch, the Daytona, the Rolex 24, because like half of it is on Peacock,
I
which
said that in May and I keep forgetting to cancel my Peacock.
yeah, yeah, I originally bought Peacock to watch soccer because they would put like matches on Peacock only. And I'm like, all right, I'll sign up for it in like September, August, whatever, and I'll cancel it in May. And then I'm watching more IndyCar and IMSA. And you see, Frankie Muniz is doing a Ford Mustang challenge at Coda.
It'll be fun. I know he's had a tough time trying to get rides this year.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I've heard that. Well, one is like, could he self-fund himself? Probably. I mean, there's speculation on what he made as a child actor. I'm sure he's done well for himself.
If you're not
Uh,
getting sponsorship money, even with what he maybe has,
yeah,
that's going to
but
bleed dry in a couple years.
yeah, and you don't want to destroy your rest of your life sponsoring an ARCA car for like 3 years or whatever. So
No, gotta look at the
he
bigger picture, which I think he's doing.
yeah, and he's doing it's a struggle, and he started so late too. I mean, he's like it's not like he just jumped into a race car for the first time when he went into ARCA. He had experience with all kinds of cars as a younger when he was acting, and he got into cars, and he said, you know what, I got to do this. Not getting any younger. He's our age basically,
I'd be
and
happy to just jump into an ARCA car and do a couple races.
I would love to do an ARCA race at some point in my life. I would never be allowed to do that, but um, as long as the boss down the hall is in charge.
I'd probably end up having to do like Berlin, Martinsville, something like that.
I'll do the Phoenix race.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if I got to the point in my life where we got to go to one of these major tracks and sit on the pit box with the headset because we own the car or part own the car, I'm good with that. I don't need to be behind the wheel. I'm
What
there's
would
this
be what I would be tempted to do would be go out and at least get the license to race. 'Cause then it's just open track.
one of the things I told my kid, like she's shown a real interest in karting, and next year she'll qualify for the be old enough to do the bigger track. So we'll see how that goes, and if things progress. One of the easy things we can do, I mean, it's going to cost a pretty penny down the road, but you can get your Formula 4 license 10 minutes from our house. So if you're really like, if this is what she wants to do, We'll get the Formula 4 license. And you know what? I will go with you. We will both get our Formula 4 licenses.
Actually, if we own a car and if it's IndyCar, there is one thing I'm gonna do.
Got to take a lap around Indy.
I'm gonna take her around Indy, and I'm probably gonna be like, um, I'm at least gonna get through the rookie orientation. Jimmy Johnson did when he was what, 48?
Yeah, yeah.
So I still got some years.
Look, if I got my Formula 4 license when I was, when I'm 50, fine.
Life
That
goals.
that'd be fun. Get a Formula 4 license. It's like, hey, look, here's 14, 15, 16-year-olds. Here's a 50-year-old. You know what? Living the dream, man.
Hey, Morgan Shepherd was what, still 78 and
That's
racing?
right. Morgan Shepherd. Yeah, there was this meme I saw the other day where it's like guy has hard time after he realizes his when he tries to start his racing career and he realizes it's not going anywhere because he's 37. I'm like, ouch. Ouch. That hit right there.
Still has 41 more years.
Oh man. So yeah, IndyCar, the ratings weren't good because they haven't published anything, which means they probably were bad. I don't
It
know
was
though.
kind of a bland
It
race.
was pretty bland. I mean,
Will
Scott
Power jumped
Dixon
out and
Dixon got
Dixon got punted.
punted into the wall in lap one. I don't know what else to say about that. Formula One. Do you think Max was sandbagging?
He has confirmed it.
He did confirm it. Okay.
Well, he says that once it was out of reach with like 5 laps to go, he backed out and just, well, I'm gonna be second, had a gap, so just cruised it.
Okay. So
So
that
yeah,
wasn't.
maybe he bled 10 seconds there in the last 5 laps if he's a couple of seconds lap slower. So it'd be a 12-second gap.
Doesn't that feel like like with how
But Mark Brundle
Mercedes is
was right.
stalling in naming their driver, like this shock Max Verstappen move to Mercedes is like actually a possibility.
Is
I,
Mercedes gonna have the car to compete with McLaren?
it's completely changed from the start of the season. We're not talking about Red Bull anymore. We're talking about McLaren.
Well, and it's funny, go back to last year, they were pathetic.
Oh, early on.
Those first few races, no points and just dreadful running.
I mean, the two of them were fighting for like 18th position at one
Yeah, Logan
race.
Sargent was beating McLaren at the
Oh,
start of last
R.I.P.
year.
Logan Sargent's Formula One career. It's over.
Yeah, unfortunately, Logan Sargent got released from Williams with 9 races to go.
Did
It's
you see after he crashed in practice and they cut to the garage and showed the mechanics standing there and they just all had this look on their face like not again, like just
it,
just
it's
complete
every
irritation.
single weekend they're having to rebuild his car. He didn't even get to run a race because he wrecked his car and or Albon wrecked his car and they're like,
We're gonna give your
we
car
need
to
Albon.
Albon. Yeah, Williams is not having a good time, but and it's just it.
It's equipment, but it's also a bit of a driver.
Yeah, I mean he just makes too many mistakes.
I will be interested to follow. Was it Franco Colpinto who's going to fill in?
F2 driver
He's an Argentinian. We saw what happened with the IndyCar series with another Argentinian driver.
who is no longer employed.
And I feel sorry for whoever is in the vicinity of this new driver, not new driver, who's been around.
The thing is
And if
though,
he wrecks,
the thing though is Canapino had a huge following in
he
Argentina.
did. He had a big
Does
following from his racing down
yeah,
there.
yeah, does this guy? I don't think he does.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't follow Argentinian
I
racing.
mean, this is the equivalent of like Argentina sending their equivalent of Dale Jr. to another country. He's
The,
the
they
fan
have
favorite that everybody loves, and
they
then
do have passionate race fans,
and there's
so I'm
probably
sure
a
they're
little
gonna know
language
that
barrier
he's
there.
up there. So I'm sure he'll. If he didn't, he has one now. We have an Argentinian in Formula One.
First time in like 20
Hopefully,
years.
yeah, it's making news all over. Hopefully they don't do the same thing that they did with IndyCar drivers. But I guess we'll find out.
We will find out. Before we go,
I
did you get a
have seen
package this
Formula One
week?
chat has been overtaken.
I have to ask before we go. Did you get a package this week?
Where was it sent to?
Oh, it wasn't sent from me.
I don't think so.
Oh, did you not buy one?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
That actually got sent to my home in Indiana because I knew I was going to be moving right around the release time.
You have to go down and get it later.
Yeah, I'll probably be getting it next month here, or I'll get it shipped up to me. But yes, it did arrive, and it is very cool.
Yep, very very cool book and autographed.
Yeah, signed by
And
Joseph Garden.
and
Our,
turn to if you turn to the special thanks page again,
you see a bunch of our names in the back.
and your wife.
Yeah, and some.
I my wife was looking at it last night. She's like, "Why is my name not here?" I'm like, "Because you didn't help with the book." Well, why did she get her name in there? Because she helped with the book. Well, why didn't you ask me? I don't know. You didn't show any interest. Like, wow.
Yeah, Andy was asking a couple questions, and then we saw him just like a few days later when he was up for the 500, and Heather's there, so we all got to chat a little bit. And yeah, I know he was worried about a couple things, but getting her input, I think, really helped kind of ease his mind,
That's
which is
good.
awesome.
I so like this is my kid. This has nothing to do with the book. I think the book is excellent. One of my kids loved it. The other kid's not as much interested in the racing part of it. And I so it, Andy gave us like some questions to ask the kids, and we filled out, the feedback and sent it back to him. And this is Andy's Joseph Newgarden book, by the way. We never did say that
Yeah,
exactly.
from
But
Red Racer Books.
yes, redracerbooks.com. Get your copy today. Good Christmas gift, good stocking stuffer. But I asked the question, like, what was your favorite, what did you think of the book? And one of my kids says, "Oh, I loved it. I loved this part. And I loved about the buying the RC cars and putting the RC cars together." And uh, my other kids, like, I asked my other kid, like, what did you like about it? She goes, "It was boring."
Yeah,
God, I'm like,
just
come
a
on.
different mindset.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I put the comments on the book, but I put a disclaimer next. So I said, look, don't worry. Like, this isn't her thing. The other kid loved it. Don't, the one who was interested in this stuff loved it. That's what you need to focus on. Don't focus on the fact that one of my kids who's in the whole racing concept thought it was boring. Don't worry about it.
It's funny. It's another book I'm gonna have to buy a second copy of. Is Logan kind of destroys his books because I
Oh
get so
yeah,
much
yeah.
use
There's some
to looking
crayon
and
on.
reading, and so I want to keep this one in really nice shape. And
Yeah,
we
you
did
have
the
to.
same thing with the ABCs, because it's special.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's very very well done. If you watched and listened to the show, you've seen Andy on here multiple times. He'll be back here again in a few weeks when he's ready to start promoting the book. And it'll be what, his fourth or fifth time on the show when you count the live visits.
Yeah, it's been what, two times on the show, three times.
Yeah,
He's
so this will be the
joined us
fourth
once or twice on
on a live.
race day. Yeah, he's
Which,
a
which we
frequent
haven't
guest of the show.
which we haven't done one of those this year. I just realized
Schedule's been weird.
it is. It's
We
it's
haven't
been
really had any of those late night ones here for a while.
no, and Japan is like was the next, but then they moved that to the spring, and I mean all these races are in the
And they're coming back to North America here soon.
yeah.
Well, North and South, this side of the world.
I mean, what's the next like late one? Was Singapore? No, Singapore is like really really late, so it's like 5 a.m. my time,
They got what? Coda coming up,
4
Vegas,
a.m.,
Mexico.
6 a.m.
Those are three of the nine remaining.
Yeah, there's only one like late at night race, and that's Las Vegas. I don't know. We'll figure something out probably.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what Formula One does and what Red Bull does. They got to bring some changes or something.
Yeah.
I know
I
they
mean,
were pleased with Checo's run. He was what, sixth, which is good.
yeah, I think he
But
gets a
did
little
you see
unfair
Fernando
treatment.
Alonso checking out the back of the
I
McLaren?
did, yeah. He was
I was
acting
like,
like he
what
was
is going on here?
looking at his own car, and then he's just kind of like classic. On that note, we'll go ahead and wrap for today. And thanks for tuning in once again. frracingonline.com and frracingonline on your favorite social media platforms.
Yeah, another busy weekend of racing. We actually have our endurance
Damn
race
it.
at Indianapolis.
Yeah, which we got to figure out how many people are showing up to that. I don't know what we're going to do.
Then IndyCar's got a doubleheader. NASCAR's at Darlington, Lady in Black. There's a lot of racing going
Playoffs,
on Labor Day weekend.
2 Milwaukee's. Yeah, we got a weekend. Italy this weekend. Is it this weekend?
Monza.
Yeah, yeah. The bumpy track. Yeah, so you got Formula One, you got 2 Indy races. You've got, do you have both? No, I don't think trucks are at Darlington. So I think it's just Xfinity and Cup this weekend.
Busy, busy weekend.
Yeah, so the trucks next race is at Bristol on September 19th. Wow, that's a long layoff for the truck series.
Gets into the playoffs for them, doesn't it?
Yeah. So they had their Milwaukee race last weekend, but they're off till the 19th of September. Trucks only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more races.
Yeah, they should be in playoff time now.
They are. Yep. Oh, they actually, the Milwaukee was the first race where you have Lane Riggs winning his first race and then throwing his shoulder out. So
Yep.
great. And then he's like being helped down. He's like, all right, I'm good. I'm good now. All right, we're good. Yeah.
Enjoy your big weekend of racing.
Yep.
Enjoy the long weekend with Labor Day. Don't party too hard. The unofficial end of summer.
It's the official end of crappy hot weather here. So we begin our nice season.
Yeah, it's about time to start piling up the snow up here.
Yep. You're gonna have to shovel out of 3 feet of snow. I don't know why
It's
you would.
funny. The fire hydrants have one of those snow markers that's about 6 feet tall. So a fire can find where the fire hydrant is.
Just throw some snow on the fire. It shouldn't be a problem.
There'll be enough of it probably.
Well, anyway, I don't want to talk about this. We're done. We're done now. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, take care.